these types of bags would you say you now have in your house?
Oh, Christ.
You just accumulate them after a while. When you forget.
I have a bag in my car, and then I forget to bring them in.
We're just simply giving out these denser, thicker bags, but we're treating them like single-use items.
From storing them
So this is I have too many bags, reusable bag system.
to styling them
My new outfit.
to singing about them.
And I go back to the shop and forget to bring the bag. So I save the world again. I buy another bag.
When it comes to reusable bags, people are getting creative.
My house is overflowing with them.
And that's because we're collecting a lot of them. We took a trip to Metro to see how many bags customers have piling up at home.
At least a dozen. At least a dozen.
Do you have a special spot where they all live?
Yeah, right in my front door so I don't forget them.
A lot.
Like what number, if you had to give a ballpark?
Oh my goodness. I can say 20.
Are you being like you only have 20, you think you have maybe more?
I have more than 20.
How many do you think?
Oh, it can be 50 bags. I have a big bunch of grocery bags at home.
About 30. It's a lot. So I'll give you a 30. Yeah.
Jeez, 20, 30.
That nervous giggle is something I heard a lot of while talking to shoppers for this story, the ones who've been collecting these reusable bags at their homes. They're a bit embarrassed because they know the alternative, single-use plastic bags, aren't good for the environment, but neither are these bags, especially if you don't reuse them. How did we get here? It started with the question of paper or plastic. Back in the 80s, battle lines were drawn at checkout counters as plastic gained ground. Now, the consumption of single-use plastics has been identified as a global environmental pollution crisis.
Well, other than blow my own trumpet, I guess it is me. In terms of the single-use plastic person in Canada.
This is Tony Walker. He's the plastics guy. He advised the federal government on its zero plastic waste agenda and Ocean's Plastic Charter. Walker says the real push to pull away from using plastic bags started in about 2018. That's when China shut the door on international imports of recyclable plastic, which included things like single-use shopping bags.
But there was very little data on how effective that recycling was, or even if it was recycled. So after that door and opportunity was closed, then many countries started to shift towards, let's start, eliminating some of the low-hanging fruit, as I've been calling it, and reducing some of these styrofoam containers, single-use plastic, cutlery, as well as bags.
We've got about a half dozen of them, always ready every day.
Okay, and how many do you have at your house, would you say?
Probably 2 dozen more. I don't remember them always, and then I end up buying more, so. But lately I've been trying to keep them in the car, that way I don't forget them all the time.
Oh my God, like over 50. Over 50. I have so many because I buy them all the time and then I forget them. What is the blockage? Why can't you seem to remember them? Because you're not alone in this. I wish I could tell you, because even when I have them in my car, like I have a bag in my car all the time, and then I forget to bring them in. So I don't know if it's because I can't see them and I'm like, oh, the store has them, but I just leave them in my car all the time. As we know, breaking habits isn't easy. It's already been over a year since most grocery stores in Canada started phasing out plastic bags. And as much as we want to remember our bags when we go into a store, this clinical psychologist says it can take months to change our behavior.
Habit change is a really difficult thing. This isn't a habit that we're doing every day. We're probably going to the grocery store a few times a week. So you add it on that it's not a regular activity that we're doing. It makes it all the more challenging to add it on. But it definitely takes time and commitment.
We wanted to know if reusable bags actually were better for the environment. It depends, of course, on which criteria you consider, what the reusable bags are made out of, and how many times they get used. That is critical. A study by the UN Environment Program found that on the lower end, a paper bag needs to be used 4 to 8 times to have less impact on the climate than a single-use plastic bag. A durable, non-woven polypropylene bag, like the ones at Walmart, for example, need to be used 10 to 20 times. What happens if you don't reuse them? Well, this is where they'll likely end up. Our producer spent some time on top of 9 stories of trash in Ottawa. He found at least 10 reusable bags in just a few steps.
So you know what? I use them for when I scoop cat litter, which is gross, but they're sturdy. It's better than plastic bags.
What we're seeing is not that real critical change in behavior, consumer behavior, and also the behavior of retailers. And what we're seeing is more, business as usual. We're just simply giving out these denser, thicker bags, but we're treating them like single-use items. So it's almost replacing one single-use item, like the plastic bag, with a reusable bag.
How many of these types of bags would you say you now have in your house?
Oh, Christ. Probably about 25.
6,000 maybe.
The sad reality is most of these bags are made from polypropylene, which is basically plastic. They won't ever break down and become nutrients for the environment. They'll just continue to degrade into smaller plastic particles, microplastics or nanoplastics.
There's a word of caution with how we use them. If nearly 40 million Canadians can do better and only have, maybe 80 million reusable bags, then it kind of interrupts and intervenes that step where we continue to keep acquiring new bags week in, week out, which is clearly unsustainable.
Some nonprofits and charities do accept donations of these reusable bags, but even they have limits. And realistically, you're probably never going to use those 25 or 50 bags you have piling up at home. So do yourself a favor, save some money, come up with strategies, and don't forget to bring your bags.